dated a jiu-jitsu guy, but he was so odd. He kept telling how I was safe with him, and he must walk around with me at Central Park at 11 at night. And he kept saying,
wanted to
da da
fight.
da, and he's like, I was like, really? Yeah. And he took me to this really good restaurant, and the guy's like, yeah, but he was wearing like a surfing suit or something, and then he's like, a rash guard, yeah, something like that. I was like, oh my god. I don't know. Martial art became just a fucking circus.
No, we just got like a couple basic normal questions off the start.
Right.
Who
Down.
you are, what your accomplishments, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just kind of get talking.
Got a story I'll have to tell. I told Luke earlier today. It's my it's like my first interaction with you ever. You probably don't even remember it, but we'll tell it. See if you. I think it's hilarious.
Are you gonna see the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Do you want to start out?
I'm good. Shanji, how many different what kind of different ways do people pronounce your name? How many?
Well,
What have people said?
Okay.
You know, like they go, what do they say? Rafael,
Yeah, but
Raphael.
well, yeah, usually like Raphael, and Rafael. So that's not much.
Rafael.
But was interesting when I first moved to America. People were saying, "Oh, there's this new guy that moved here. Apparently, he's really good." And I opened the forum. I swear, you know that movie where the guy has like 24 different personalities?
Yeah,
that
split.
Yeah, could totally be me.
Yeah.
So, all right. Shanji, Sanji, Xander, Zandi, Sanji,
Oh my god.
Shanji, Sanji. Like Sanji, I get a lot of Sanji. I don't know why. Zandi, Shanji, Xander, Jandri, Sandri, like all different like combinations of a Z, X, and S H's and N, and then D's and G's and like even like Genghis Khan. Like
Yeah.
sometimes even go like Shanji, like I was like a Genghis Khan. So, but yeah.
So what?
If you don't know, Alex is fine. I'm okay with Alex, Alexandre. It's fine, but I think just my whole name in America will be
Alexander the Great.
Yeah, I don't know. If you can say that, I'll take from you.
You ever listen to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History?
No. What is that?
He had there's a podcast. He's got Dan Carlin's Hardcore History podcast. I think he's got some free stuff out, but most of them you have to pay just like $1 or so to get. But it is the most epic stuff. His delivery, first off, like his passion and the way he delivers history and the subject is insane. But he did one. He's done several, but the one on the Mongols is a must listen thing.
All right.
So when you're traveling, listen to that.
All right.
That's just savagery.
Cool.
Upon best.
They're like 4 hours long. They're really
yeah.
long, and they don't come out like every week. He only releases them every once in a while, but they're really long. He's got like a 4-part series on World War II, for example.
Yeah.
But they're each like 4 hours long, so it's like listening to a book.
Well, it's not like I'm not in airplanes and airports.
No, I know. Yeah. But we are here with you, Xander, Shanji. We're here with a living samurai, my sensei, my friend, and also a very big influence in my life as far as somebody I look up to and gives me inspiration to continue to try to be a better person. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about you, what you do? You are a professional strangler.
Well, first of all, say hi to everyone in our GreenStrength podcast. It's a pleasure to be here. speak with you all. Like we started the podcast. My real name is Alexandre. I'm originally from Brazil. I'm 40 years old, and I be a martial artist my whole life. You know, I remember the first time I trained something was judo. I have a gi. Literally, my gi, the top of it
Yeah.
is this tall. So you can gather how big I was when I started judo. So my gi is this big,
Yeah.
like two palms up, like maybe 12 inches tall. I think talking about accomplishment, seven-time world champion, Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame, EDCC champion. I think every single thing that says championship in Jiu-Jitsu I have competed at,
Yeah.
all rule sets and everything else. But I would say that one of my biggest accomplishments is to be the coach, sensei, friend of one of the greatest martial artists that exist. Rafael Lovato.
Yeah.
Grand Slam champion. He have won everything of what Bellator champion, and we got to share that experience together. And I'm, you know what I mean. So that's me. I'm a teacher. I'm a student. I'm a father. I'm a lover. I'm a strangler. Put it out there. I don't like to even say I'm not much of a settle career type of person. You know what I mean? Of course, my character is always my character, but some days I like mocha, some days I go cappuccino, and that's totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And you
No.
got on the way a new academy opening in Austin. You've recently relocated.
Yes, I've been in United States for about 20 years now. I'm probably the not the oldest, but like the first one of a whole generation to move to America. I literally had to eat stones when there's no such thing as jiu-jitsu business. The Brazilian jiu-jitsu industry, as far as martial arts go, there was no. I had like literally do ads on yellow pages. People would call the academy, hey, how much jiu-jitsu? Oh, it's $100. Oh, thank you, bye. There was no procedure. We just train. There was no methodology because in Brazil we didn't really care about that. People just train for train. So yeah, so I had that, but has never been my academy. And I always travel. My biggest thing in martial arts is I'm not just my team consultant. I open schools all over the world, but I was also a jiu-jitsu ambassador. I'm invited to go many places. Usually I say I'm the rabbit's foot of a lot of academies because when people open academies, they tend to invite me to their seminars. And so far, every single school has been successful. That's probably my main passion, jiu-jitsu, is to teach, go around the world. There was moments I'll travel to places, I'll literally be dealing with like five different religions. I'll go to Hindu, Catholicism, and Muslims, and everything else. But one thing is in common: Jiu-Jitsu. And for me, this is amazing because I can speak that language. And after many thoughts, and of course, my career now is coming to an end as far as like professionalism, meaning tournaments like world championships and things like that. I'm still gonna do super fights and world masters, but it's time to settle. And it's been a while since I've been pondering where the best place. So I chose Austin. It's been in the works for the past 4 years that I've been planning. I've been looking, trying to find where the best place is, where the city's growing, and things like this. And I moved there a year ago, and hopefully, July 2021, it will be open and ready to rock.
For those who don't know, like how big of an outreach you've been able to have. I mean, we're talking about you've been able to travel all over the world, and just like connect with thousands upon thousands of people that literally connect with hundreds and thousands of other people. So to like paint that picture for people, I mean, like if you're listening to this, you've traveled around and been able to experience every culture. And the thing I think is like interesting with you is that you are able, like, there are people out there that teach jujitsu, but there's an audience that they can never get to understand jujitsu. You can get every audience, every age, any person to understand and enjoy and start to learn.
Yeah, I think that's had to do with the way I was raised too. Thanks to my family, I went to the best school, so knowledge, language. I think language is a big barrier with people. I remember mom used to. I used to go to school during the day and go to. In Brazil, there's a lot of like after school programs for English. And I'm like, why do I need English? She's like, I don't know. Maybe one day you need. Funny thing, I'm in America. I can write, I can read, and I can actually express emotions through language. And I remember when I first moved to America, to United States, was very like robotic, translating. Until one day I'm watching actually Chappelle show, and I'm cracking up. Like I'm literally getting everything he's saying. I'm understanding his humor. And also, I think moving to Ohio right away, it make a big impact because Ohio is like
Yeah.
As America can be. Maybe if I have moved to California, maybe my English should be very Brazilian, or Florida or New York, those places that were like there's a lot of like South American and Brazilian influence. So I moved to Ohio, and there was no Brazilians. There was no FaceTime, no nothing. They had like Orkut or MySpace, or that's how we communicate. Like even like the webcams were so bad. Like having a microphone was like, wow, like you were above average in technology. And I think that helped me a lot because I was able to connect with like so much people. I have never judge people. I'm curious, like a little monkey. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm curious to know about people. I when I sit and listen to them, and like I said, I can express myself through the language. I can be polite in many languages, but maybe not understand totally. And jiu-jitsu just gave me that weapon because I try to connect. I don't teach a move. You're never gonna see me. Hey, this is how you do an arm bar. I'm
Yeah.
very like, this is why this is happening. This is what are you feeling. This is what maybe you're gonna see happening. Because mechanics, anyone can teach mechanics. But understanding why things happen, I think it needs a deeper connection with the person that you actually interacting with, and I love interaction, and I
Yeah.
think that's why I was able to connect with so much people.
Well, that's mastery, right?
Yeah.
That's becoming a master of jujitsu or just martial arts in general is what you're a master of. But um, Jeff and I have been having a lot of talks, and everything keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper when we're talking. And that's just like what I've started to notice in the strength and conditioning world, following those like we've discussed, Maxwell and Cotter and the Steves out there, the powerful Steves. But it's like mastery of a tool and being able to literally communicate with anybody and get them to understand one valuable thing that can change their life in a way.
That's the same thing I think about jiu-jitsu. I like to understand fundamentalism of everything. Like I was even explaining people like I'm very happy now, happy and sad because it took me 20 years to be accepted in a wrestling community. So I'm training with this high school team, the 512 Outlaw Wrestling.
Yeah.
But every time I learn wrestling, it's like the wrestler is thinking like a grappler, and he's teaching me wrestling for grappling. No, I like learning wrestling for wrestling because I want
Right.
to understand what's through their mind.
Yeah.
Like when I learn boxing, because in MMA I say I don't care about MMA. I want to learn the noble art. I want to learn Muay Thai from Muay Thai. I want to learn, and I
Yes.
think that's what happens. So a lot of people ask me like, oh, what exercise are good? Kettlebells are good for jiu-jitsu. I'm like, all of them. Learn kettlebell first because it makes me more intelligent, makes your neurological thinking, made your chain of connected power work. So
Yeah.
I get a lot of this. Why should I do yoga? Because everyone wants to know how does that gonna happen in their jiu-jitsu. I was like, first learn that, enjoy the art as an art itself, and maybe you're gonna develop a way to understand how that helps jiu-jitsu. And I
Yeah.
think that actually work with you also because you didn't train jiu-jitsu. You're
No.
a conditioning guy. I'm like, all right, let me go into this world because now I can understand what maybe I'm talking about.
Man, I had to take a lot of like self-reflection with the ego because there was a time in which I think when we talk like on an artistry mastery level, like we understand the same principles that are like that connect between both of our arts that we teach. And so it took me a long time to like understand. I could almost see you or Professor Raphael just like teaching something or saying something, and I could see the deeper why. But I hadn't put the time in physically to get myself to be able to do it. And that was like a weird thing. That was that weird. It's kind of like, man, I understand what's going on here and I see these things and I see the concept and the philosophy, but I got to go back to being a student in this art
Exactly. Yeah.
and actually, figure out the balance of what I'm doing in life
Mm-hmm.
and where I need to change to make this happen.
Yeah, and how that can adapt to your expertise. Like I tell people, I rather teach a brand new person than someone that's very high level in something. I have a problem with Steve Carter, for example, because I can still see his idea of kettlebell in jiu-jitsu. He's like, he goes from zero to boom, like he has these spurs, but he's very technical, and I get frustrated when I see guys like Cameron, for example, because also in my brain I have this huge expectation, because Cameron, for example, he's a movement guru,
Yeah.
and sometimes I teach him, okay, just example, one foot after another, and he gets so complicated because they need also to understand how to go into the level of being a student, to be able to, like, okay, take everything out of their pocket, just let it go,
Mm-hmm.
and then learn from the beginning, which I understand, because Carter is what, 50s, Cameron is 50, so it's hard, you know what I mean, to make them go back to being a baby.
But when you look at every great just comes back to principles.
Mm-hmm.
And so are we, trying to think how I want to put this, are we almost like limiting? I feel like everybody needs to go back to respecting the foundational base level of all arts.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so movement wise, we need to strip ourselves back and really find out, like, this is exactly what you've been doing. You've been finding out how your body's moving.
Yeah.
Down to this muscle's firing now,
Mm-hmm.
when this one should be.
Yeah.
We've got to strip everything back, and we've got to learn that we've got to push, pull, squat, carry, crawl,
Mm-hmm.
and that we've got to make this happen at a base level. Our tools, like our kettlebells, our barbells, our maces, and things, like, first we all need to become that student that's mastered that blue belt curriculum almost.
Yes.
And that freedom creates such a bigger pool.
Yeah, and it's almost like how I explain people in my jiu-jitsu, right? It's like every tree has roots, it has a trunk, right? Maybe, I don't know if there's any biologist there that can say, okay, there's this exactly tree that does not have a root or
It's
a
got
tree.
roots, deep roots.
What's the difference between the trees? Some are venom, some are fruits, some are flowers. And I think that's the people. So me, you, and Jeff, we have same roots and same trunks. But you develop to be an apple, I'm a rose, and he's a pineapple. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's the beauty of it. And the same thing with like weightlifting sometimes, like I see a lot of like conditioning coaches, they like harder, faster, stronger, but no, like you need to make my body intelligent. You need to make me understand as an art, okay, when I lift it, when I hinge, what am I using?
Yeah.
When I'm squatting, what am I engaging? I talk a lot about engagement, because when I fight jiu-jitsu, I never go into isometric. Literally, my jiu-jitsu stops on engagement. You're never gonna see me squeezing. You're always gonna see me engaging. That's why I talk about the diamond concept. It's not a squeeze. It's not isometric.
Big nugget right there.
Exactly, because like I see people, like when they just like when they deadlift, they jerk the bar up, and I say, well, where's the engagement? What muscle are you using? Are you becoming intelligent, or are you just dumbing yourself out?
Yes.
Because if you repeat a wrong movement 100 times, you're not getting better. Oh yeah, you train a lot. I'm like, what is a lot? Oh, I train so hard. I'm like, what is hard? For me, it's about intelligent movement, intelligent capacity.
It's the hardest thing, right?
But the ego plays a role, because
100%.
we wanna post on Instagram and bench press 400 pounds. I'm like, so what? You can bench press 400 pounds, but if I put my weight distribution on you and you don't know how to hip escape proper and connect your landmarks and do your proper connections, you're not gonna escape my side control. And guess what? You're gonna guess out. You're gonna die. And I think that's where people in the fitness, or I don't know if I would say fitness or conditioning, whatever industry you want to call this, especially for fighting, you know what I mean? You guys, which I think you do a master job. Rafael is out. I never see Rafael going to a practice saying, dude, I'm beat up from conditioning. You know what I mean? Some days, of course, volume of training,
Yeah.
or that, but he's always in tune because, in my opinion, conditioning is about teaching your body in a non-pressure environment, right? Like, for example, if I have to pick you up in a wrestling move,
Yeah.
that's pressure testing,
Right.
right? If I'm deadlifting, so I have to like, okay, I'm focused, I'm on myself, I'm engaged those muscles. Again, I'm just become more intelligent because the body has neurons too, not just our brain. Our whole
Hands
body
to
is
feet.
intelligent.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is intelligent. I remember, like, I see when you talk about, hey, engage this, squeeze the floor. Like, you're not just telling me to lift 300 pounds. It's how do I lift?
Yeah.
It's the hows and the whys.
Yeah.
If it's 100 kilos, 120 kilos, it does not matter. Because our body is perfect. I always thought our body is perfect. But as long as we teach our body proper movement, your jiu-jitsu get better.
And it's a game. It's a
Yeah.
game of, jiu-jitsu being a game of inches, and jiu-jitsu players understanding when you talk about the details of a
Mhm.
move. Everybody listens to the Hall of Famer,
Mhm.
but that's what we're asking everybody to do in every art.
Yeah.
You've got to slow down and find the details
Yeah.
of the squat,
Yeah.
the details of bending over.
Mhm.
And let me ask you, I've been saying that the best strength conditioning program for grappling is getting what I consider people back to a baseline human level.
Mhm.
So I take grappling away from what I'm looking at and I say humans are supposed to be able to crawl, run, jump, climb, have a level of aerobic base, have a level of go and a
Mhm.
strength and a confidence.
Mhm.
There are different types of human beings. So the dosage and the balance of that is different from everybody.
Mhm.
And there's a world of things we can kind of pick and employ over time, but none of that matters until the baseline is reached.
Mhm.
And everybody in the strength conditioning world is they're putting out programs. They're putting out all these things that you see, and it's like, I can back up the science on all of it because I see the book that they're pulling it from. It's like, yeah, great science. But I've been around you guys. I've been around some of the best grapplers in the world, and you can't lay out a 4-week program and follow that. I've never been able to have like 2 weeks where I'm not altering
Mhm.
every day with Raphael. And it's little things, just like you'd never think you can't do a pull up or a kettlebell swing, but
Mhm.
fingers, hands, elbows, all these things are just.
Mhm.
So then you start thinking, I've got to make sure that baseline fundamental human movement is as healthy as it can possibly be.
Mhm.
And in turn, that creates a healthier, stronger grappler
Exactly.
than when people are trying to start this deadlift program or start this crazy cardio program and they're just burning themselves into the ground.
Yeah, I believe the same. Like I said, the dosage is not the same. You
Yeah.
can't, like, when you go to a gym, for example, and you look at the workout of the day. Okay, box jumps. It might be some person that has like Achilles problem, and they can't box jump.
Yeah.
So I think that the strength and conditioning world, it's very, like I said, today I want mocha, tomorrow is a cappuccino. Like, maybe, just as examples, maybe today, all right, Sean, I'm gonna make you crawl and pull this thing. Maybe in your idea yesterday, right? But maybe I hurt my wrist. I cannot use that. Which means if my wrist is hurt, my shoulder gets compromised. Now I have to do something else. You know, and again, uh, and also, I think the ego of conditioning coaches, in my opinion, which is in general life, they want to be the person that they want to be able to say, I did that for this guy.
They want to be responsible.
They
for
want to be
sure.
responsible for this. You know what I mean? And when I see guys, and I've been around the greatest people.
Yeah.
I remember the first time, I came from Brazil, this idea of faster, harder, stronger, right? And I'm training with Steve Maxwell, right? And I think he has a lot of the Russian idea, right? And if you look at Russians, they don't get tired. You know what I mean? And they do something so simple. So anyway, I remember working out with him, and I'm like, that's it? Like, I'm like, he says, no, you're good. Are you excited? Are you feeling good? I'm like, yeah, so now use that in jiu-jitsu. But in my mind, I wasn't confident because I
Right.
say, because I'm not exhausted, which is the first idea. Because anyone can I can make you do 100 burpees, and you're going to, oh, great. I sweat a lot, but guess what? You're dead. And I was like, whoa. And I would do like, Steve, so what are we doing today? He's like, oh, let me see how you feel. So your ankle's okay, your hand's okay, your neck's okay. Do you train yesterday? Is there anything you think it's working? You think you need to get stronger? Are you too weak? So there's this conversation before anything.
100%.
And then he does based on that.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, look, don't do anything that's gonna strain you. You know what I mean? And then of course Steve Carter, and then meeting you. Remember back in the day, the Brazilian guys, Paulo, Pimentel, like they're all the same idea because they're just people that train jiu-jitsu. They understood and they never wanted to do anything. So that was it. Just a parenthesis here. There was a show, a jiu-jitsu show, and this guy literally said like this: well, because to do conditioning for a guard player is different to do a passer. I was like, how can he make that as that statement? What happened when the guard player is on the top? Like, I can understand that maybe, okay, I want your legs stronger for the guard, but it's still baseline strength.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a top player. Maybe let's go and do glute and your back stronger, but it's still a baseline strength, which so the guy make that statement because he's in national television and he wants to look cool. But what's up with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also nothing recreates the functionality of fighting.
No. And we have to look at the body as a living organism that has also psychological things. You've been around some of the fittest men on earth and some of the best coaches on earth. And I think you just said it, but I want everybody to be able to hear it. Every real badass strength conditioning coach or fit person is very intuitive. They change and they go day by day. They don't write shit out for weeks upon weeks. The only time that stuff is necessary is when you have a highly specific goal, like my buddy Blaine Sumner, the Vanilla Gorilla. He just had a birthday yesterday, so shout out to my boy Blaine Sumner. But he's one of the world's greatest squatters of all time. And squatting 1,000+ pounds takes a workup and it takes sacrifice. And the crazy thing is it takes a level of destruction, and that's what it's like at the highest level in grappling. Like you have your career, your training time and everything kind of where you stay feeling good. But then that when it's the big time tournament, when it's ADCC, like training, the balance of things has to change a little bit. So we do need that hard side. Yeah. But it needs to be in such a small dosage.
Exactly.
And so controlled.
Exactly, because it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Fighting is unpredictable. I can tweak my neck. I can tweak my hand. I can bust my knee. Maybe today instead of be okay. And also, how can you say that a grappling training is not going to be intense? It can just turn intense right away. Yeah. Like even me, Rafael, yesterday, we were training. Next thing I know, we're grappling for 30 minutes. Of course, we know how to dose it, but that could be just like source training. And guess what? Today we're supposed to be hard conditioning. No, look, let's just do legs. I want to, like today, I never done the machine. I say, hey, can I understand the machine? So I'm understanding the machine because I'm curious how I can use the machine. And next thing I know, I'm lifting 4, 5, 6 plaques that I could not lift over my back. Of course, and I went to train a little bit today. My legs, it's a little sore and I can't, do the same strength. But I understood what I came here to understand because I'm off season. I just want to be stronger, and again, I think, it's quality of movement as a primal human, like you said, how many guys are like, I'll give example of Vitor Hugo, you know what I mean? What that guy can do in a fight, but ask if he can pick up his keys from the ground. He cannot. Because he does not have the understanding, and jiu-jitsu is such a grappling, I say, is such a new sport, at least for the general public, maybe wrestling or thing, but jiu-jitsu, like the systems, the energy system they're used in jiu-jitsu, you can't make a statement is aerobic, anaerobic, or sympathetic, whatever you call this, different energy systems, right? Yeah. Maybe we're talking about this. Yeah. So you can't measure because it can change at any time. Yeah. That's the way I breathe. That's the way I squeeze. That if I'm at the top, maybe I can breathe. If I'm on the bottom, maybe I cannot. We never know.
Would you say that almost your mindset, like your psychological calmness and ability to control in the heat of the moment, that does more for
Oh yes.
conditioning than
Than
any
anything.
actual work.
Anything.
I 100% believe it.
Anything, man. I take my time. I thank all my masters that taught me breathing, yoga, and all that. It's a again, everything that I do when I teach. As an example, believe me, I understand more about myself than anything else.
Yeah.
When I breathe, when I put myself in bad position, what type of person do I become in each situation possible? And of course,
Like here.
I train exactly. I train with Saulo, and that guy is just pure pressure. So for me, nothing in the world will scare me. I fought Roger Gracie 8 times. That's the scariest thing ever. Braulio Stima. So I being around the scariest man in jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else scares me. Maybe a couple guys nowadays, the Foot Locker guys, maybe concern me, but doesn't scare me. So, and I think that sense of the yin and yang, or the balance of using breath, emotional intelligence, and with the technique, it balances it out. So when do I really need to explode? When do I really need to just go for broke? You know what I mean? So I think that understanding, it helps you. And plus, we have the gift of Cameron Shane. Every time I'm with him, I'm like, okay, I just changed the way I do that technique. Hey. Literally, when I watch him, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this technique like that. Yeah. Even the diamond, the elegance, I've changed that thing 10 times.
That's a funny subject, because that honestly, that's one of the things I love about myself, that I'm happy that I've been able to do as a strength conditioning coach, or whatever the heck you want to call us, is facilitate the right people around people. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know, literally Raphael and I were, let me backtrack a little bit. I had a girlfriend that was studying, doing teacher training from Cameron. Okay. And so I was actually watching all of his videos far before Cameron was anybody knew of who he was around here. And then all of a sudden, my girlfriend was actually teaching Budokan yoga in Lovatos at that period of time, and nobody had known. So a couple years later, Raphael and I are on a walk after we did some hill sprints and stuff, and he was telling me about some strange guy who messaged him on Instagram or Facebook and stuff. And then it sounded like Cameron, when he was describing this person. And so, I was like, is that Cameron Shane? He said, oh yeah, that's who it is. And I was like, well, dude, tell him let's go to Miami. Mm-hmm. And then watching that, but I think the cool part about that is, before that, I was trying to get him to slow down. Mm-hmm. But I'm not I don't exude the yoga side to him. I can't get it in his head. Mm-hmm. I know it, I understand things, but I wasn't able to get him to fully understand and switch. Mm-hmm. And then Cameron kind of presented himself right in that time. And it was almost perfect. It's go, learn this, because I need somebody to slow you down. Yeah. I need somebody to start to bring that balance in. Mm-hmm. And that's the beautiful thing about just all teachers and all forms of art, being able to share and help out with the correct dosage here and there.
Yeah, and I think it's collective wisdom. The first time I had contact with movement was Ginástica Natural Álvaro, and I was like, whoa, I want to move like that. Fire breath and understanding how to make the breath. That was the first time. I think it was 2000. I was 19 years old. That was the first time I'm learning how to do Kapalabhatis and massages and movement. And